Welcome your host, Caddy Frink, as she leads discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Okay. Hello out there in Radio Land. We got this new music and I'm kind of catching the wave there a little bit. My name is Caddy Frink. I am your host to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution brought to you by Minnesota Recovery Connection. Who's across the table from me?
Hey there, everybody. My name's Patricia Carter, a woman in long-term recovery.
Sweet. And what do you do with Minnesota Recovery Connection and the other organization?
Well, I am at Minnesota Alliance of Peer Recovery Organizations, and I am a project coordinator through Recovery Corps. But I get the opportunity to work inside of Minnesota Recovery Connection with all you lovely people.
Nice. It's a beautiful thing. So we are here. We're going to be discussing recovery stuff, but we always have to start out the right way, which is what's right with you today, Patricia?
What's right with me today is I woke up energized and ready to do this interview. It's a great topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's right with you today, Caddy?
What's right with me? I always come in and I always enjoy coming in with doing the show always. But what's right with me today is that I got an extra couple of days off. So that's always a sweet thing. Mm-hmm. And knowing that it's all going to be okay. It's not always comfortable, but it will be okay because time does keep moving on. Things can change. I was just meeting with my acupuncturist and we're talking, there's a lot of layers of weight right now, but every now and then it's like, take off a couple of the layers and it'll be okay. Mm-hmm. Things aren't great, but that's we have to have, you always have a positive attitude. Mm-hmm. That's the way you roll through life.
I have to, because you don't want to see me crying all the time.
No, we certainly don't.
I can't go there.
I'm sure we can. I know. I'm just thinking, actually, I know a lot about Patricia now because we've been working together for quite a while. I'm thinking of like a couple of more shows that we need to do together. But today, what we're going to be discussing is what we call what, Patricia?
We call it inhalant use disorder.
And what is that?
Well, what that is, it is a deliberate inhalation of volatile substances. And people may know it as huffing, snorting, dusting, bagging. In these ways, you inhale through either your mouth or your nose.
Yeah. So tell the folks why this really became an interest to you, because it literally happened as I'm looking here. I'm looking at a dusting can literally in the studio, and I'm like, oh, heavens to Betsy, there it is. Yeah. What prompted this whole investigation that you've done?
Well, it as I was at the office one day, it had to be a couple of months ago, and a new staff member, she came over to my desk and she was standing by the copy machine and she had this look on her face and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I am, but I just experienced something." And I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" She said, "I just witnessed a man in his car and he was huffing." And I said, "Are you serious?"
What?
And she said, "Yeah." I said, show me. So she took me to the conference room where the windows are. You can see straight into the parking lot.
Yeah. And
so he had got out of his car by that time and he was walking toward the DMV. And so I said to her, "Did that trigger you?"
Right.
Right. And so, because she's in recovery too, she's early in her recovery. She said, "No, I just have never seen anyone openly use in their car like that." And it just really made me think.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. So we talked about it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And then after I went to my desk, I just started thinking about it. And I said to myself, I wonder, this could be a nice project to research, because I have not had any experience with huffing or snorting or bagging or anything with substances. But I know that it really concerned her. And it really concerned me because, I mean, in your car, I mean,
it's just
public,
so blatant.
Yeah.
I think it's like when we see people out on the street using the foil and smoking, or somebody smoking a joint and it's not medicinal. You're like, this is so out in the open. Do you know what it was that he was utilizing? Did
It,
she
it,
identify?
I think she said it was a can of inhalant. It was some kind of can.
Okay.
And I just was just blown away by that. And so when Sarah walked past, I shared with her. I said, Sarah, this is something that, he was doing openly. And she said, that might be a project that you might could work on. I said, I'm on it.
Like glue.
So I began to research. I began to really dig deep, and I'm a researcher, and I like really getting deep into research and finding out stuff because I love learning new stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And so come to find out that this is something that's affecting our teens through social media, through peer pressure. I think about when I was in my early stage of usage and experimenting with drugs. I didn't even know the name of them.
But it was cool.
It was cool. I wanted to be accepted.
Cool kids want to be in the cool kid club.
Yeah. And so that's how that project got started in motion.
Yeah. And, I Patricia brought it to my attention. And of course, kind of, I've been helping Patricia advance along on her putting together slide presentations, and she can do all the research, but what does it look like? How do we do it together? So we really combined our efforts on a large project together, and we both learned from one another.
Ooh, yes, you've helped me a lot. You just don't know.
Well, that's what it's all about. Like you said, people want to learn. If I can be that facilitator of that, it helps me. And one of the things that came up in our conversation, sort of like kind of digging into this, was like, do you remember when they locked up all the spray paint? And so I did some quick digging, or somebody did some quick digging, and it was back in 2006.
Yes.
And if anybody is mature enough, you don't even know, just like you don't even know being in an airport when you used to just be able to walk up to the gate and just go onto your plane. So these things that have happened over these decades, there's a whole generation that does not know what happened. So if anybody who's got a couple seasons on them, remember when all the spray paint got locked up, because we kept seeing kids and adults with all kinds of paint around their face because they were snorting in or inhaling or whatever the heck they were doing, these chemicals, because it got them high. And they're like, well, we got to do something about this. So, and I think that's what affected you, is when it's come back.
Yeah, it's come back around
with way new products. So the reason why we're having this conversation is that we want people who might have experienced that back in their other season of life, that your kids probably not, but your grandkids could be moving into a space like this, and you kind of going, well, that's all done because they took care of that. There's always a resurgence. And there's a whole bounty of products that we're going to educate you about why this is a discussion now. And it's interesting. I went to see my acupuncturist today, and back in the day when I used to be dancing in the clubs, there was a thing called poppers, and he reminded me of what poppers were. And he'd be out on the dance floor, and this is my days of having a whole lot of fun. The drinking hadn't quite tipped over many, well, it probably had, but I don't want to acknowledge that right now. But I'd be out on the dance floor with my guys, particularly in the gay clubs. That was, where it was happening, doing these poppers. And we talked about this, my acupuncturist, and we're talking, it's like, and so he educated me on something.
Okay.
And he said there was a period of time, because this is in the 80s, when AIDS was coming into play. And there was a discussion at one time that these poppers were the things that were causing it, because people were inhaling it. And so, here we go, another piece of the puzzle, that it's like, I didn't know that. So we can add that, because then those men and women could also be seeing a resurgent in their grandkids, their nieces, their nephews, their humans. So That's
that
what,
is so interesting.
isn't it though? Because what we don't know is, what do these substances do?
Exactly.
We know some of the side effects, which we'll talk about in the next segment. But what we need to do is we need people to be aware.
Yes.
That is the key component. So I am so grateful that all of you are listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution. My name is Caddy Frink. And what's your name?
My name is Patricia Carter.
Patricia Carter. We are both women in long-term recovery. So thank you for listening to our show and AM 950, the progressive radio station. See you on the other side. Hi, this is Caddy at Minnesota Recovery Connections, Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution. That was some new music that I wasn't super familiar with, but that's okay. We got to have a little something to break us in. Hello again. Who's on the other side of the fence from me?
I'm Patricia Carter.
Ooh, Patricia Carter is going to actually start working with Minnesota Recovery Connection after her service. Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? Before we get into this, will you give people a little window of your recovery journey? Just that short little story that you can come up with, so people understand when I say the seasons that we have between us, why we say that.
Well, I'm a woman in long-term recovery, and I came into recovery in 1986. And I started getting high and experimenting with drugs at probably around 13, 14. Just wanting to fit in, wanting to have a place to belong. I was attracted to older men. And so I wanted to be around older men, not because of romance, but I was looking for my dad, my father figure. And the older men had the drugs, the older men had the money, the older men had a place to live, the older men had everything that I was looking for.
Was your father at this point incarcerated? Is that what?
No, I
he
had
just
not
wasn't
even met him.
Oh, that's right.
I had not even met my dad.
He was just absent.
He was absent. And so, yeah, I was looking for love in all the wrong places and all the wrong faces. So, the drugs became a thing where I just wanted to be able to get high, to forget the dysfunction, to forget that I did not have a dad that was in my life to protect me, to be there, to show me what a healthy relationship looks like. And so I started pretty early. And then also, I just believe that wanting to be able to fit in, I didn't really fit in anywhere. And so when I started getting high, I was like, okay, well, I can fit in with the get high crowd. But
they're very accepting.
Accepting. Oh yes, especially if the drugs are free.
Yeah.
But in the end, I began to be very lonely and started getting high by myself. And so I just felt like, you know what, this life is a lonely life. And plus I had a whole lot of childhood trauma that I just didn't deal with.
Yep.
And when I came into recovery, I started to see that I needed to heal from a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff that I had stuffed way down on the inside and never really wanted to address, and plus family dysfunction.
Sure.
And so starting to really look within and say, you know what, there is a lot of good about me, but I gotta sort out some stuff. And so
sort out and sort of and like bring to the surface that which has been buried so deep.
Yes. And I promote the therapist. If someone would have shared with me that I could utilize a therapist when I was like 21, 22, I think I probably would have said, maybe I should think about that. But nobody really promoted it. Nobody was really talking about therapists and how important it is.
I think I want to just pull out, there's an element of our season we're in. I love that from Miss Cynthia. She says that there's an element of age and also cultural situations where if you saw a therapist, you had a really big problem.
You were crazy.
You was crazy. You were mental ill. You were all those things that those people will take care of. I'm not that bad, is what we said to ourselves, right?
I wish I would have utilized that therapist at 21, 22, 23, 25. And really, started unpacking a lot of stuff because I mean, at 22, 23, emotionally, I still was like 15.
Yep.
I'm just being honest.
Absolutely.
And so it took me a while to just really unpack and begin to trust the process. And so now at 60 years old, I'm saying it proud, I'm saying it loud because I'm alive to tell the story.
And that's the magic.
And that's that I'm telling you now. And so it's like being able to share my recovery story, the opportunities that I get, you never know who's listening. You never know who's, at the end of their rope and desiring to come into recovery, don't have a clue and maybe fearful to even ask. And so just being able to just share, it just gives me such a natural high.
Yeah. Get away from that fake high that we used to live in.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I've got a multitude of stories. I could, you and I just, 63, 60 is in the same wheelhouse. So, well, thank you for giving the listeners a picture of really what your passion is about this long-term recovery. But as you said, finding it can be terrifying because that means there's got to be some vulnerability. That means there has to be some perceived weakness, which is actually strength if you're doing something for yourself. There's all these things that we have gotten misguided about trying to get better, messaging we got from people who were themselves either mentally ill or addicted or ill-equipped to handle new information. They didn't know what they didn't know, all these different things. And so this topic that we're talking about, which is what are some of the ways, the inhalants that people do?
You can use huffing, snorting, bagging, dusting. So, it takes me back to a movie. Some of you guys may remember this movie. It's called Crooklyn. So in this movie, Spike Lee was the producer, but he also did a cameo appearance, and they were based in Brooklyn, New York. And I'd say he was probably like about 16 or 18, and him and his little homie were sniffing glue out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it even showed how the hallucination took place.
Really?
And as they were sitting on the stoop, they saw themselves walking upside down in the hallucination. And so it's like, I never did this type of substance, but I'm telling you, the hallucinations, all the stuff is real. So,
and let me just add something. The hallucination is real, but the thing that is really frightening about all this is that it's extraordinarily short.
Yes.
So, like so many things, the window is short, so the compulsion to do it over and over again.
Yes, chasing that high.
We're going to go through, I'm going to read the first two ones if you don't mind, because and it's Patricia and I were just talking about before we came on air. So two things that come up are oven cleaner and bug spray. Now you're all like, what? And these came to me via the way of the Department of Corrections when I'm in the jails and the prisons with folks, that these are chemicals that are available to people within those environments because they have an actual use. Well, if somebody wants to escape, they're going to find a new way. And so one of the things I learned in that is with the men and the women that I've trained, if individuals are doing these dramatic, terrible chemicals, the people that they see after they've done it, they are never the same again. They have killed so much brain cells, brain matter, that they're never the same again. It's not like some of the substances that you and I maybe came off of. There might be some elements of us damaged, but many of it can come back.
Right.
Some of these you don't come back from because they are not intended again for human consumption.
Horrible.
So oven spray, bug spray. Let's go down the list.
So you got model glue. Everybody's familiar with model glue. You made the airplanes, the toy cars, the E6000, the strong odor glue and adhesives.
I think about when people are doing work in their homes, some of those adhesives that you're using to glue down any number of things. Imagine imagine somebody sniffing that.
Ooh.
You're walking away from it as a grown adult. You're like, darn, that stinks. And I got to open up a window and put a fan. But there are people who are walking to those smells because it will give you a high. And they always say, ventilate the room that you're working in.
We got another one, paint thinner. So the paint thinner, you think about you're taking the paint off a wooden a dresser, you're doing it in the garage with the garage door open, but some people are really snorting and sniffing paint thinner.
And I think about, I'm a geek because I get on the reels on my phone and I will watch people restore furniture. And here's the deal. All the people who are doing it to restore the furniture, they've got ventilation masks on. They've got air circulation going on. So imagine, folks, I want you to turn that script around. Somebody might be willingly, wantingly to inhale that. And other people are taking all those incredible precautions. So this is why we're discussing this. It sounds ludicrous, but this is what's happening. What do we got there? Cleaning fluids. Our director was talking about, she has a little niece that was really sniffing the heck out of carpet fresh powders and stuff. She would just get really in tune to that. And you're thinking, what? But there again, there's all kinds of chemicals. Yes, they have a fragrance or some sort of smell to them, but cleaning fluids, if you think about, what am I trying to think of? Like, terrible smelling stuff that I can't think of what the fluid is, but cleaning fluids have a lot of heavy duty odors. And if you got somebody who somehow catches a whiff of that and they just like something sparks in their brain.
Yeah. And then we have a famous one, nail polish remover. So we go to the nail salon and the nail tech has got a mask on, but they don't offer anybody else a mask who's getting their nails done.
Maybe there's a dual thing going on there.
So nail polish remover can get real strong. Yeah,
any woman who gets her nails done, when you walk into a salon, you got that smell. Hopefully that's going to be, they're ventilated. Their intention is not to get us stoned, even though we're happy we're getting stuff done. But there again, we all know the strength of that product. Those, the stuff that's in there. I can't think of all the names. Gasoline.
Woo! Gasoline is a strong one.
Yes. I've actually, when you brought this list to me, I kind of went back in the arsenal of things that I've seen over the years. And I remember, I think there was like a Dr. Phil show about a woman who would just do sniff gasoline all the time. She'd carry it in cups and have it in her car. So what we're talking about, and Dr. Phil ain't been on for a long time. And this was a show from a long time ago. None of these are new.
None of them.
But they will be new to a new generation.
Yes.
And as you get older, hopefully you haven't done any long-term damage. We know, stay away from these. But those kiddos, those young folks that are experiencing new ways to escape, that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
What's the next one on there?
Lighter fluid. Common, back in the day when we used lighters to light the cigarettes. We don't do that now. We use other ways to light stuff, but lighter fluid, back in the day, Pops or Grandpa, they had their supply of lighter fluid. So, and it was potent. I remember that smell.
Really? And I don't. I didn't know. Nobody in my house smoked. So, one of the big things that we know about is the duster air. That was a huge one for a long time. But there again, what we want to point out is that these are things, all of these things, for the most part, are available over the counter. We talk about galaxy gas, whippets. What are those?
Whippets are those little silver canisters. They're very colorful. You can actually go get those at a tobacco shop, smoke shop. Order online. You can order on Amazon, and basically, they're little. You might see them probably in the street as you're walking down the street. You're getting in your car in the alley. You may see a used whippet or galaxy canister, and you probably don't even know what it, because I didn't know what it was.
I didn't know what it was. I found them outside my house a couple of times.
So our youth and young adults are using these nitric oxide. You can find those at tobacco shops. And
yeah, so the description, I want to describe it again
Yeah,
because I was telling this I was just talking about this. They're a little canister, probably about almost 4 inches tall.
Mhm.
They're round. They got a little tip on the top,
Yes.
but they're a little teeny. They look like an oversized. I'm going to use the term an oversized bullet.
Yep.
You know, that's what they look
Yeah,
like. So
that's
if
a
you're
good description.
if you're seeing that and you're like, oh, that's nothing. That's something that doesn't affect me. It does.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
So galaxy gas. Talk about the nitrous oxide in the canister cans that you can buy at the like food warehouses. Tell us about those.
Yes, culinary stores. You can actually buy nitrous oxide at the, in form of like whipped cream. So many people may have, strawberry shortcake, and you say, "Oh, what's some whipped cream?" But these are things you can buy at a culinary store, and I mean, you don't think that people are using, but yeah, people are using those to get high also.
So do the cans have the product in it or just the
Yes.
gas?
The
So like
gas.
it's just the
It's the
gas,
gas,
that
yeah.
they probably feed into
Mhm.
some sort of something so that it can actually do the whipped cream.
Mhm.
So just so you all know, we're still diving into this, trying to
Yes,
understand
learning and
it,
understanding.
because it's something that we wanted everybody to have like just a lens on.
Mhm.
Like you don't have to scour through your house.
Right.
But if you see a product in its wrong place,
Yes.
that's when you want to go, why is the oven cleaner in the bathroom closet behind the toilet?
Right.
Or why is there nail polish remover in my boy's room and he's not
Mhm.
somebody who is experimenting with colors on nails and stuff?
Exactly.
Where is there a
Yeah.
disconnect?
Yeah.
Because that's what all of us need to do. Where's there a disconnect in some of these
Mhm,
products?
mhm.
So what else do we got on here?
So you have, according to a 2020 survey, 2.4 million people in the US ages 12 and older had used an inhalant in the past year.
Oof.
In the past year.
Yeah. Where's it coming from?
Tobacco shops, order online.
No, the information to the kiddos. Social media influence.
Social media influence. Yeah. So our youth want to be hip. And so that is old school.
It is
wording.
old school term. I love it. Had to
They
have
want to
it.
be accepted.
Yeah.
And so they look to social media. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on social media.
Mhm.
And so it's unfortunate that these platforms are being used in some of the wrong ways to influence our youth
Yeah.
and our young adults, but it's true.
Yeah. And one of the things we just added to our we were actually super prepped for this show, y'all. I just want you to know. Some of you have heard me and Sarah go totally off the cuff, but we always have something interesting to say. We had talked about just the other day, and I thought this was interesting, Patricia, is that if somebody, a kiddo or a young person is doing the inhalants, the next step, if they don't have the ability or they're trying to investigate, vaping is probably going to be their next habit.
I agree.
And that
Yeah.
means that somebody's going to build onto whatever they're doing to a
Mhm.
nicotine addiction.
Mhm.
Y'all heard me preach about
Yeah.
nicotine addiction.
Yes, indeed.
So, there's like this chain of events, this domino effect that can
Mhm,
happen.
mhm.
So if you have a kid that's struggling, a young adult that's struggling, a college student that's struggling,
Mhm.
we walk into these spaces rather than walk
Yeah.
away from these
Yeah.
spaces
Yeah.
because habits can build on habits.
Oh, yes, mine did.
Yeah. I mean, it adds on. It's like
Ooh.
those back in our day, smoking can
Mhm.
lead to drinking, can lead to drugs,
Mhm.
because what you're doing is you're kind of opening up that gate.
Yes, you are.
And to that little bit of high,
Yeah.
that little bit of escape mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
And
Curiosity.
and I think what you said was totally cool. You want to be hip. You want to be
Yeah,
in
you
with
wanna
all
be
the cool.
accepted.
Yeah, or you might want to be actually a trend leader too.
Yeah,
If you think
sexy,
about it.
sexy.
Yes. If y'all saw that on video, she's doing a little shirt tally there. So we're going to go back and forth. So experimentation with inhalants can sometimes be indicated through blood, peer pressure, boredom, taking risky behavior. We all did risky behavior at one point.
Yes.
Underlying anxiety and depression. You got a kiddo, you got a young adult, you got a college student, you even have a grown adult who doesn't have any access to, they don't want to do heavy drugs, but they're going to say, oh, these are just this.
Right.
You know, that desire to escape. And then substance seeking tendencies. What does that mean? That means to me that somebody is looking for some sort of something to do something.
Yes.
You know, you actually accidentally pull out the Lysol cleaner from underneath the sink, and all of a sudden you can start cleaning the sink, and it just makes you so happy. Like, what is that? Oh, I'll just keep cleaning. I'll keep cleaning, you know, and they're maybe not looking for it, but it could be that way. What are some of the risks?
Well, what are some of the risks? The short-term dangers include oxygen deprivation. That means, wow, you're shortening your oxygen supply right there. Fainting, head injuries when you fall. I mean, if you faint, you better be somewhere where close by a bed or whatever, because you could faint and hit your head, and TMI, traumatic brain injury.
Yep, I was just thinking the same thing.
Seizures. Some people already experience, seizures, and so when they're experimenting with some of these substances, seizures can really get to an all-time high. And irregular heart rhythms. Pitter patter.
So if you think about nitrous oxide, if I'm not mistaken, nitrous oxide is used to make you not feel pain. And so in these little doses, these are the concerns. If it is distributed by a medical professional, they have the levels, they have the appropriate quantities, they know what they're trying to achieve. So these are things the way doctors should be using them, not your average silly human trying to. And what's that last one on the page?
So sudden death in rare cases. So, if you know that you're already struggling with a heart that is perhaps missing a beat, or you've had some issues with breathing, maybe you've had pneumonia, bronchitis, and you're experimenting with these inhalants and stuff, and all of a sudden your heart stops.
Or your lungs are incapable of functioning because they've been compromised by maybe, like you said, the flu or the
pneumonia. And that one's a big one.
Because what you're doing is you're adding a chemical on top of already a physical ailment, irritant. So you're putting an irritant on top of an inflamed body. You could literally shorten your breath. I mean, doesn't that just sound absolutely horrendous?
Devastating.
Well, and I was thinking about this, and that is, when you talk about the fall part, that idea that you've got a young person or you've got a person who's just trying to escape their pain, they do this over and over again, and they have that one fall that could lead to a death situation. But as you said, a traumatic brain injury, not to mention what the chemicals are already doing. So if you think about it, the consequences when somebody, if they fell out, it could be absolutely
deadly.
I remember back in the day, I don't know if you did this, but when you used to, so I'm talking about my age, the way we were trying to escape back in the day when we didn't know about all this stuff, when you would like lean against the wall and you would push on somebody's chest and you'd push all the air out. And then you had oxygen deprivation and then you would faint. I remember, I can see myself doing it with the girls, and you'd fall down and you're like, because there was this little high that took place because you escaped for like, I think it was like 4 seconds at the very most.
It was fun, exciting.
But if you think about what that's doing to the poor body back in the day, I'm like, what the heck were we doing? But it's like you'll do just about anything, either if you got pain or you want to have fun or you want to fit in, or it's like a cool kid thing. And this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. If you don't have that frontal lobe developed, you'll do stupid stuff.
I did. I know. I did.
Man, I mean,
oh my goodness.
It's just it really the importance about this conversation is that when Patricia and I were talking about this, everything comes around again.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new. there's new things that are happening in the substance community that come filtering in.
Right.
And the creativity of people is amazing in potentially a deadly way. But what we're always wanting people to, there's kind of like the normal behavior that somebody has, and then there's the abnormal behavior.
Oh, yes.
And that's what we want people to be triggered into. It's like if you've got somebody in your life that all of a sudden becomes very absent and becomes very uninterested in a lot of things.
That's right.
It's not that they're depressed or they're sad. They could be using substances. And we got to walk into that space.
Yeah.
So when we come back from break, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about really what the heavy use can do, and what it can lead to besides some of those almost light things we just mentioned.
Right.
And then we're going to talk about a couple of things to be aware of and maybe some resources for you. But really, this is sort of like opening up this conversation to make sure that people know that substances, even in your house, can be extraordinarily dangerous.
Yes.
So my name is Caddy Frink, and I'm with?
And my name is Patricia Carter.
And we are here at Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution on the incredible progressive radio station AM 950. I will look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you for listening, and catch you then. Kind of digging that. What do you think? Kind of little head nodding going there. Yeah, very funky. I like it. Yay. Hey, welcome to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution. We're back again. My name is Caddy Frink, and
my name is Patricia Carter.
Woohoo! So, what's next on the list about when people are using inhalants? So just if you're coming in on the last 10 minutes, what we're talking about is inhalants. And inhalants are, if anybody remembers, poppers back in the day, or you're sniffing on stuff. Or I remember there's a German restaurant in North Minneapolis, and they have this little gizmo, and they would put, not peppermint, what was it? It was spearmint. It was something on the end, and they'd pop it into your nasal cavity.
Oh, wow.
And you just get this little buzz, just a little buzz. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're still doing that. Hopefully not. But I remember, because these were my drinking days. So we had a couple of beers, and we did a little of this.
Okay.
So again, none of this is new, folks.
None of it.
But this is it can be coming back, or it might be a real sly, subtle thing coming into your family mixture. So tell me what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, so repeated or heavy use can lead to some of these effects. Nerve damage, also with vitamin B12 depletion, effects on our body, numbness or tingling in the hands and the feet, difficulty walking. So if you're using this, if our young people, our teens are using this on a heavy basis, these are some of the things that they can accumulate. And
literally mobility issues.
Mobility, difficulty walking. Oh, this one is the big one. Memory problems.
Oh, I already have a memory problem. I don't want anybody else.
Okay. Long-term neurological damage. And, a lot of times when you are experimenting, you might say, it's just gas. Everybody's doing it. It's just gas.
It doesn't matter.
It's not affecting me.
Yeah.
But if you're using repeatedly every day, all day, these are some of the real bad effects of using these gases and stuff. And then also, people may say it's not a real drug. They may say, oh, it's just gas. People are, using it, and it's not a real drug. I can use this and there'll be no effects.
And then, hey, it's legal. I can buy it at the corner store. I can buy it at the tobacco shop. What's your problem?
Order it online.
And here's the thing. We had one of our employees at Minnesota Recovery Connection. She's going to do a little, go into the tobacco store and ask a couple questions. And she did that, right?
Right.
Rachel did
She
that.
did.
And let me tell you, I think she kind of got a hard,
Yeah.
don't you be asking me no questions about the stuff that
Exactly.
I'm selling. So it might
Exactly.
be air quotes legal,
Yeah.
but they know,
Yeah.
you know, when people can profit off of something, even if it can be dangerous,
Mhm.
is it the money or the danger?
Mhm.
And I think that's really like that to me was like a turning point when Rachel was talking about
Exactly.
that. It's like, yeah,
Yes.
you can use the
Yes.
just like you know, when we talk about marijuana, pot,
Mhm.
all that. Now it's legal, but
Mhm.
it's legal within realms.
There you
It's
go.
legal, but what we need
Yes.
to do is know that it still has an effect on the mind, the body. And when you talk about these heavy use, if somebody is
Mhm.
driving a car
Oh
and
my
they
God.
got tingling hands and feet, what can
Yes.
happen? They
They
got
can
difficulty walking,
they can spiral out of control and even cause an accident and injure other people.
and she's got a story about that. So,
Yes.
one of the I'm gonna have you close with that story about
Okay.
that. But what I also want to say that addressing this is really important, and what we've
Yes.
talked about over and over and over again
Mhm.
is when we are talking to folks, we want to not ask accusatory questions. We want to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm noticing something. You're a little bit off your mark lately. I
Mhm.
found these little canisters. Oh, I found the oven cleaner in your bedroom. What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm more concerned." And you don't want to like push on people, but you want to say, the concern has gotten me to a point where we have to talk about this.
Mhm.
So avoid that confrontation, have more of a
Right.
conversation,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
If you find the little canisters, you see somebody who's like hurting, it's like, can I just talk to you about what I've learned? I was listening to the show on AM 950.
Yeah.
Or I went online because I'm seeing the little whippet cans around. I just want to tell you what's happening to your body,
Yeah.
because what people are experiencing when they get high is they think it's an escape, but they forget that there's this whole carcass
Yeah. Yeah. Your
below
body.
us.
That's right.
And we need to sometimes tap those two together
That's right.
and say, hey, what you're doing that's giving you the escape is
Mm.
also has a consequence on the body.
Mhm.
So listen more than sometimes talk. Listen
Yes.
about where's the escape coming from.
Mhm.
And I came up with this one liner and I thought this was really good and we all thought it was. And that is,
Yeah.
don't berate the person. Don't berate them.
That's right.
Educate them.
Educate them.
Because a lot of kids just do stuff because everybody's doing it, but they
Yep.
have no friggin'
No
idea.
idea.
So why don't you tell the story about the young man from
Yeah, so
Wales?
this young man was from the western part of Wales, and just last week I stumbled upon this article. So this 19-year-old boy has been sentenced to life in prison for the murder of a mother of 3, and he caused bodily harm to her partner. So this young man was high off nitrous oxide while using his car. He hit the woman and the male outside of a club in September of last year, following just a disagreement. So he's high off nitrous oxide.
Mm-hmm.
The woman dies 2 weeks later
Oh.
after the incident from multiple organ failure and complications. And the man that he hit also, he sustained serious injuries. The judge stated that the young man did not intend to harm the woman, but was guilty of her murder because she was in the way, and when he intended to cause bodily harm to the other man.
Okay, so he had a beef with the partner and the lady
Yeah,
was the
she
victim in
was
the
the
case.
victim. Yep,
Okay,
yep. So
okay.
this young man has to serve a minimum of 17 years. He's 19 now. He has to serve a minimum of 19 years in prison and has been disqualified from driving for 21 years.
And so when we think about the ripple effect of when things happen, so here's a I'm only 19, he's a young adult. He's a young adult, but he's a young man who's getting high, thinking that
This
I'm just
happened
getting
last year.
Yeah, it's I'm not going to hurt anybody. But then when you get that testosterone kind of blasting up, you got a beef with with this guy, and you're like, I'm gonna do this, but you're not in your right mind,
Not at
folks.
all.
And so what seems like perception, like you hallucinate. I'm just doing an imagination. And that is, he's behind the wheel. He's like, I'm going to just tap this guy because he's not having this sort of reality check.
At all.
And in fact,
Out of control.
Takes out a human
Whew.
and affects literally the rest of his own life.
Yes.
From an action that if there are, and I'm not casting any shame against parents or friends or anything.
Exactly.
But if somebody recognized something that was going on, this is what we want you to be aware of.
Yes.
Because we don't want these things to happen to anybody.
Anybody.
And we also don't want the irreparable damage to happen to a young brain that is already so incredibly under development. Then you add all these toxins and you add all these chemicals that could interrupt their growth and their potential and who they want to be.
Exactly.
And they want to be a veterinarian, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a fireman, they want to be a, a carpenter. And at 16, 17, 18, 19, they're doing this kind of damage to a brain.
Oh my goodness.
Those dreams could be absolutely sidelined.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about, folks. And this is what the heavy duty chemicals, the xylazine that's in things, the metotidine that's in things. So many chemicals are not intended. And this is like a brand new frontier. I call it the wild, wild west of drugs. So we got just about 45 seconds. What do you want to say to folks, hon?
Well, what I want to say is, parents and guardians, pay attention to your young people. It's good to provide for them the necessities, shelter, food, clothing. But we have to start paying attention to them, their actions, their behaviors, because they're crying out. A lot of our young people are crying out silently, crying out. But if you pay attention and you look and you ask questions compassionately,
it can be magical.
Yeah.
It can change the life. Well, thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. I am here with Patricia Carter, the magical human. My name is Caddy Frink. Thank you, AM 950, the Progressive Radio Station.